The hallway was too quiet, too still, too full of everything Amelia had been trying so hard to avoid. She could hear her own breathing, fast and uneven, as Cole stepped toward her. Not too close. Not enough to touch her. But enough to make her heart feel like it was working overtime in her chest. He didn't say her name. He didn't have to. The look in his eyes said everything. That he wasn't walking away. That he wasn't done with this. With her. And that terrified her more than anything. Amelia swallowed hard and forced her voice to work. You shouldn't be here. Cole exhaled slowly, the sound heavy and frustrated. I know, but every time I try to stay away, I end up right back where you are. She shook her head quickly, turning away before he could read too much in her eyes. Cole, this isn't, but he cut in quietly. Real? He asked. The word hit her like a live wire. She froze, fingers curling by her sides. Amelia, he continued, voice low but steady. I don't know what this is supposed to be. I don't know why I can't stop thinking about you. But I'm done pretending that I don't feel. A sharp, piercing alarm blasted through the hallway. Both of them turned at the same time. Code trauma. Incoming. ETA. 2 minutes. Amelia jerked into motion instantly. Training overtook emotion in a split second. She rushed toward the bay doors. Cole watched her for half a second, just long enough to see the shift in her. The way she went from flustered to focused, from vulnerable to unstoppable. And then he followed her. Cole, no. This is work. You can't. I'm not in your way, he said, keeping pace beside her. I'm just making sure you're okay. She shot him a look. I'm a medic. I'm supposed to be making sure other people are okay. He didn't argue. He didn't back off. He just stayed beside her. Close enough that she felt his presence. Far enough that he respected her space. The ambulance screeched into the bay. Amelia's partner, Jordan, hopped out first, calling instructions. Severe crush injury. Male, late 20s, trapped under scaffolding. Amelia slid into full command mode. Cole, stay back, she said urgently. But he didn't move. Not away. Not forward. Just watched her like she was the only steady thing in a spiraling world. The patient was rushed out. Blood everywhere. Amelia didn't flinch. She stabilized the neck, secured the airway, called for trauma surgeons, all with practiced precision. Cole watched her hands. Shaking but steady. Terrified but brave. Human but heroic. He didn't realize he was holding his breath until she finally stepped back, letting the trauma team take over. Only then did she exhale. And only then did Cole move. You okay? He asked quietly. She brushed her curls back and nodded once. I'm fine. But she wasn't. He could see it. The way her shoulders trembled just a little. The way her breathing hitched. The way she refused to meet his eyes. Without thinking, he reached out. Then froze, catching himself before he touched her. Come outside, he said gently. Just for a second. I don't need. You do, he whispered. And that softness, that gentleness in his voice, was what finally made her follow him. They stepped just outside the bay doors. The night air was cool, soft against her overheated skin. She leaned against the wall, eyes closing for a moment. Cole watched her. Not with pity, not with judgment, but with something deeper, something she didn't want to name. You take everything on yourself, he said quietly. Every life, every moment. You carry all of it. That's the job. That's the burden, he corrected. She opened her eyes and found him closer than before, not crowding her, not overwhelming her, but close enough that she felt his warmth. Amelia, he said, voice low. You don't have to do all of this alone. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. He waited. I really waited. Like she was worth waiting for. And that scared her even more. Cole, she said finally, voice barely steady. You need to stop looking at me like that. Like what? Like I'm someone you shouldn't lose. His expression changed, raw, unguarded. What if you are? He asked, her breath caught. Before she could respond, Jordan burst through the doors. Amelia, we need you back. Now. She straightened immediately, professionalism snapping back in place. But as she walked past Cole, her fingers brushed his. An accident, a mistake, a moment too quick to analyze. Except it wasn't quick for him. He felt everything. And the look she gave him over her shoulder, just for a second, told him she felt something too. Something she didn't want to admit. Something neither of them could walk away from anymore. The rest of the shift blurred. Amelia threw herself into the work. BP cuffs, IV lines, clipboards, signatures. Anything that required her hands so she didn't have to think about the way Cole's eyes had softened when he told her she didn't have to do this alone. By the time she finally clocked out, her limbs felt like lead. Hey, Jordan said, tossing his keys in the air as they walked toward the lot. You good? I'm fine, she lied. You were a little off today, he said, not unkindly. Not on calls. You're a machine on calls. Just in between, she shrugged, adjusting her backpack on her shoulder. Long week. Yeah. He hesitated. You know, they posted the invite. The gala thing. Harrington Global. Her stomach dipped. Yeah, I saw. Are you going? I'm EMS, she said. I'll be invisible. They just need uniforms in the background for optics. Still, he said. Might be nice. Free food. Fancy lights. Rich people, pretending they know what we do. She snorted. That's supposed to make me want to go? Okay, fair. He grinned. If you bail, I'll steal your dessert. Rude. He stopped at his car, hand on the door handle. Get some sleep, Brooks, seriously. I'll try. She didn't. Sleep, when it finally came, was full of fragmented images. Cole standing under hospital lights, tie loosened, eyes raw. Cole on the curb, watching an ambulance pull away. Cole said, I don't want you to be a detour. She woke up with her heart racing and her pillow damp. Her phone buzzed. Jenna. You up? Amelia squinted against the screen glare. Barely. Why? Gala. Tomorrow night, I'm not wearing this uniform to a room full of diamonds. We're going shopping. I can't afford shopping. The reply came instantly. I didn't say we were paying. My cousin works at that consignment place on the 9th. Designer stuff, low prices, EMS discount if we bring snacks. Get dressed. Amelia sighed. Her bank account flashed before her eyes, screaming in protest. But there was a tiny, traitorous part of her that whispered, one night, just one night, where you're not covered in someone else's blood. She stared at the ceiling for a long moment. Then she texted back, Fine. Give me 30 minutes. The consignment shop smelled like leather and possibility. Racks of dresses lined the walls. Silks, satins, sequins. Amelia felt out of place even before Jenna shoved a handful of hangers into her arms. Absolutely not, Amelia said, staring at the deep plunge necklines and leg slits that looked like they'd guarantee hypothermia. Trust the process, Jenna said. You're hot. Let's act like it. I'm an EMT. You can be a hot EMT. Amelia rolled her eyes. You're relentless. Yes, and correct. Jenna steered her toward the dressing rooms. Go, try. I'll be outside judging you lovingly. The first dress was too tight. The second was too pink. The third made her look like she was about to read the news at 11. But the fourth, she stared at herself in the mirror, genuinely off balance. It was a deep emerald green that made her brown skin glow. The neckline was modest but elegant. the straps delicate without feeling flimsy. The fabric hugged her waist and then flowed softly to the floor, skimming curves she usually forgot she had under baggy scrubs and stab vests. Her curls, freed from their usual bun, fell around her shoulders in soft spirals. She looked like herself, just more. Jenna's jaw dropped when she stepped out. Oh, we're buying that. It's too much, Amelia protested weakly. It's exactly enough, Jenna said. Plus, sale tag. Plus, my cousin still owes me from the time I covered for her when she accidentally took her ex's car joyriding. This seems like a long story. It is, and it ends with you getting this dress for half off. They paid, Amelia flinching when her card went through, even at the discounted price, and then grabbed cheap dumplings from a spot around the corner. As they sat on the curb outside, chopsticks in hand, Jenna nudged her. You haven't asked me what you really want to know. Amelia took a bite of dumpling. I don't know what you're talking about. You want to know if he'll be there, Jenna said. Cole. The dumpling turned to paste in her mouth. She swallowed. It's his company's gala. Of course he'll be there. Jenna tilted her head. And are you more scared that he will be there or that he won't pay attention to you if he is? That's a manipulation question. It's an honest one. Amelia stared at the busy street. I'm scared of... She trailed off. Her chest tightened. Of wanting something I can't have, she said quietly. Of stepping into his world for one night and remembering how it feels to be seen, and then going back to mine like nothing happened. Jenna didn't make a joke this time. She bumped shoulders with her gently. You're allowed to let someone see you, you know. Yeah, Amelia said. But I'm not sure I can afford what it costs. Across the city, Cole stood in front of a mirror he'd never liked. It was one of those tall, perfect rectangles framed in brushed steel, designed by someone who wanted to see angles, not people. Lucas lounged on the edge of the bed, tie discarded, expression both amused and worried. You look like a man being led to his execution, Lucas commented. Cole adjusted his cufflinks. It's a fundraiser. It's a fundraiser you bullied the mayor into co-signing, Lucas corrected. And a launch party for a system that will literally save lives. And also the first time you're seeing the girl who saved yours while you're not wearing a hospital gown. Cole's mouth twitched. That's not inaccurate. Nervous? Lucas asked. Cole gave him a look. I've spoken in front of world leaders, negotiated billion-dollar deals, and walked into rooms full of people who would love nothing more than to watch me fail. And yet, Lucas said lightly, none of them held your actual beating heart in their hands. Cole didn't answer. He didn't have to. The silence said enough. You know, Lucas continued more softly, you could just talk to her like she's a person and not some cosmic wake-up call. She kind of is a cosmic wake-up call, Cole said. Lucas sighed. Okay, fine. But maybe don't open with that. Cole focused on his tie. He'd chosen a black tux, simple and classic. The jacket fitted perfectly to his frame. His hair was styled in its usual controlled sweep, but a rebellious strand refused to lay flat, falling onto his forehead. He left it. He didn't feel perfectly put together tonight anyway. He felt unsettled. Do you think I'm being stupid? He asked quietly. Pursuing this. Lucas didn't answer immediately. I think you almost died, he said finally. I think something cracked open that night. And I think you're trying to figure out whether what you're feeling is gratitude, trauma, or something more. That wasn't an answer. Lucas met his eyes in the mirror. No, it wasn't. My actual answer is, if you're going to risk looking stupid, I'd rather it be for something real than another merger. Cole huffed out a faint laugh. Fair. Lucas stood, straightening his own jacket. Come on, your mother will kill me if you're late to your own event. Cole grabbed his phone, hesitated, then slid it into his pocket. He checked it one last time anyway. No new messages. No unknown numbers. No hint of emerald green dresses or curls framing a familiar face. Get it together, he told himself. You don't even know if she's coming. The Harrington ballroom was the kind of place most people only saw in movies. Crystal chandeliers spilled light onto a sea of shimmering gowns and sleek tuxedos. A string quartet played something elegant in the corner. Waiters wove through the crowd with silver trays and champagne flutes. Amelia tugged at the hem of her dress, suddenly hyper-aware of every inch of her body. I don't fit here, she muttered to Jenna. Do you see half these people? Jenna whispered back. They don't know which fork to use either. You've got this. Amelia had compromised. EMT credentials clipped to a discreet lanyard at her side. Dress flowing, hair down. Half in her world, half in his. She spotted a few familiar faces from the hospitals she'd worked with. Nurses, a couple of doctors. Captain Ruiz stood near the back, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else, his dress uniform somehow even more intimidating than his usual one. There, Jenna said under her breath. Amelia followed her gaze. Cole stood near a small cluster of city officials, his posture relaxed but alert. Black tux. Hands in his pockets. That stubborn piece of hair still refusing to cooperate. He looked good. Too good. Unfairly good. As if sensing her eyes on him, he turned. Their gazes collided across the room. Everything else, the music, the chatter, the clink of glasses, faded. He excused himself from the group without breaking eye contact. Jenna squeezed her arm. Go breathe, or kiss him, or stab him, whatever you need to do. I'll be by the shrimp. Amelia shot her a look. Jenna slipped away, leaving her exposed. She considered fleeing. The nearest exit was 10 steps to the left. The restroom was to the right. The safest option was probably to pretend she hadn't seen him and, Amelia. His voice was close now. She turned fully. Cole, she said, proud that her voice didn't shake. I see you clean up sometimes. His mouth curved. You look. He stopped himself. She raised a brow. Like I borrowed someone else's life for the night? I was going to say stunning, he said simply. But that works too. Heat crept into her cheeks. This isn't really my scene, she admitted. It's not mine either, he said. She gestured toward the polished floors, the glittering crowd, the massive banner bearing his company's logo. You own the scene. I own the room, he corrected softly. Not the way I'm supposed to feel in it. Her heart did that annoying thing where it tripped once and then sped up. He cleared his throat. I'm glad you came. I'm here as backup, she reminded him. Officially. If anyone chokes on a mini quiche, I'm your girl. I'll alert catering, he said dryly. They stood there for a moment, the space between them charged. You're different here, she said before she could stop herself. How? She tilted her head, studying him. You're still you, but less guarded, less polished. You say that like it's a bad thing. It's not. Her voice dropped. I like this version better. His eyes softened. Stay for the speech? He asked. Then if you hate it, you can bail and tell everyone you had an emergency. That's lying. You literally save lives for a living, he said. I think you've earned at least one dramatic exit. She almost smiled. All right, she said. I'll stay for the speech. Good, he murmured. Someone called his name from across the room. Margaret Harrington, impeccable as ever, lifted a hand, gesturing subtly toward the stage. Duty calls, he said. Go be the responsible billionaire, she replied. He huffed a quiet laugh. I'd rather talk to you. Good speech material, she said. You can quote me. He gave her one more lingering look before turning away. As he walked toward the stage, Amelia exhaled slowly, fingers tightening around the stem of her water glass. Jenna appeared at her elbow like a very nosy fairy godmother. So? So what? Amelia muttered. You're not made of stone, Jenna said. What are you thinking? Amelia watched Cole climb the few steps to the small platform. He looked momentarily uncomfortable in front of the microphone. Then his shoulders squared, and corporate Cole slid into place. I'm thinking, she said quietly, that I'm in trouble. My name is Cole Harrington, he began. Most of you already know that. You've probably skimmed enough articles about my net worth or my company's market cap to recite it in your sleep. But that's not why we're here tonight. The room quieted. We're here because 2 weeks ago, I almost died on a wet stretch of asphalt under the FDR. A ripple moved through the crowd. I was angry that night, he continued, at a lot of things. The markets, the board, my own limitations. I got behind the wheel when I shouldn't have. I made a reckless decision, and I paid for it. His eyes found Amelia briefly, then moved on. I don't remember the exact moment I lost control of the car, he said. I remember the sound of impact. I remember the pain. And I remember a voice telling me I wasn't allowed to die on her shift. Soft laughter moved through the room. That voice belonged to a paramedic, he said. One who doesn't have a corner office, or a stock portfolio, or a family name anyone recognizes. She has 40 pounds of gear, a battered ambulance, and a salary that doesn't reflect even a fraction of what she does for this city. Amelia's face burned. Jenna nudged her. That you, she whispered. Shut up, Amelia hissed. I don't remember what happened in the boardroom the week before my accident, Cole said. I do remember the way my chest finally loosened when someone took my hand and told me I was going to be okay. That I wasn't just another case rolling through automatic doors. His voice dipped, roughened. I realized something that night, he said. All the money in the world couldn't get that ambulance there faster. My title didn't make the bleeding stop. My connections didn't stabilize my heartbeat. People did. People whose names you don't read on headlines. People who show up on your worst day and try to make sure it's not your last. The room was silent. So tonight, he said, before we talk about funding and strategy and systems, I want to do something very simple. He gestured toward the back of the room. To the EMTs, paramedics, nurses, and responders in this room, would you please stand? Amelia's stomach dropped. Oh, hell, she muttered. Up, Jenna hissed, grabbing her arm. Captain Ruiz straightened beside them and rose. One by one, scattered throughout the room, uniforms and badges appeared amid the designer suits and gowns. Amelia stood last. Dozens of faces turned toward them. Cole's gaze found her immediately. These are the people who make this network worth building, he said. They're the reason any of us are here tonight. Quite literally, in my case. So before we ask them to do more with less, like we always do, let's do something different. He lifted his glass. To the ones who answer when we call, he said. To the ones who see us at our worst and still refuse to give up on us. To the ones who show up, even when we don't deserve it. His eyes locked with Amelia's. To the ones who save us, he finished softly. Whether we know it or not. For a heartbeat, the room didn't move. Then applause exploded. It crashed over her like a wave. Loud, sustained, sincere. Amelia stood there, spine straight, cheeks burning, heart pounding against her ribs. People she'd never met were clapping for her. Not because she was pretty, not because she was convenient, not because she made anyone look good on paper, because she existed, because she did her job, because she was there when it counted. Her throat tightened. She blinked hard. Jenna leaned over. If you start crying, I'm going to start crying, and then they're going to think someone is dying, and this whole thing will get weird. Shut up, Amelia whispered, laughing wetly. Cole lowered his glass, eyes never leaving hers. And in that moment, under a chandelier she'd never expected to stand beneath, in a dress she couldn't afford, surrounded by people who'd never set foot in the back of an ambulance, Amelia felt something shift. Not in him, in her. Maybe, for the first time in a long time, she believed that she was allowed to take up space in a room like this, even if she wasn't sure what that meant for the space she was starting to take up in Cole's life. The applause gradually faded as people settled back into conversation, but Amelia still felt the echo of it in her bones, like something warm was expanding inside her chest, pushing against walls she didn't even realize she'd built. Cole stepped off the stage, accepting brief handshakes and congratulations from a few donors who intercepted him on the way down. But his eyes kept drifting back to her, again and again, as if to check she hadn't disappeared. Jenna bumped her hip lightly. He looked at you the whole time. Like, the whole time. Amelia ignored the flutter that danced below her ribs. It was a general speech. No, sweetheart, Jenna said. For the first time in history, a billionaire just gave a monologue that wasn't about himself. Before Amelia could respond, someone approached them. Captain Ruiz, straight back, immaculate uniform, the unblinking gaze of a man who had carried too many tragedies and didn't have patience for whatever. This was Brooks, he said. Captain, Amelia replied, straightening instinctively. Good showing tonight, he said, though it sounded like he was commenting on weather conditions, not emotions. Harrington spoke well. Amelia nodded. He did. Ruiz's gaze flicked briefly toward the stage, where Cole was still enduring handshakes. You two seem familiar. Jenna choked on her drink. Amelia's spine tightened. He was a patient, on one of our calls. Ruiz watched her for a moment. His expression didn't change, but something like a warning sharpened his eyes. Be careful, he said. With him. With this, he corrected. Lines blur easily in our work, and they blur faster around people with power. His voice stayed level, calm, firm. Remember who you are, Brooks. Don't let any room make you forget. She swallowed hard. I won't. He nodded once and walked away. Jenna leaned in. He likes you. He suspects me. No. He's protective. Jenna nudged her shoulder. Superiors sometimes get weird when they see one of us catching feelings for someone with a VIP badge. I'm not. She stopped. Jenna lifted a brow. Amelia groaned quietly. I didn't say anything. You didn't have to. Before she could retort, a shadow fell across them. Cole. He stood there, hands in his pockets, the faintest, shyest curve at the corner of his mouth, an expression that didn't belong on a man who owned half a skyline. Hey, he said softly. Jenna instantly abandoned Amelia and slipped away, muttering something about shrimp cocktails being lonely without her. Coward. Amelia cleared her throat. Congratulations on the speech. He laughed under his breath. I was afraid I'd trip on the mic cord. You didn't. I might have if you hadn't been standing there. His gaze softened. I kept looking for you. Her breath caught, annoyed at her body for reacting, annoyed at him for noticing, annoyed at herself for caring. Cole, she began. Walk with me, he said, nodding toward the balcony doors. Her pulse fluttered. I should stay with the EMS group. You've been with people all night, he said gently. Just a few minutes. It wasn't a command, wasn't even a confident request. It was hopeful. And that was the part she couldn't seem to armor herself against. She hesitated, then nodded once. Okay, a few minutes. He opened the door for her, the warm buzz of the ballroom fading behind them as cool night air swept over her shoulders. The balcony overlooked the city, skyscrapers outlined in gold, traffic flowing in gleaming ribbons along the avenues. The music from inside hummed behind them, muffled, distant. Amelia leaned against the railing. Cole stood beside her, leaving enough space for comfort but not enough to feel detached. For a moment, neither spoke. Then, "You didn't have to do that," she said quietly. "Do what?" "Talk about EMS. Talk about me." "I didn't say your name." "You didn't have to," she said softly. "Everyone looked at me." He turned slightly, facing her fully. "I meant every word." "Cole, you saved my life." "I saved a patient," she corrected. "Maybe," he said, "but I wasn't just a case to you." She looked away, focusing on a bridge far in the distance. "I don't want anything to get messy." "Messy?" he echoed. "Yes," she said, voice steady but soft. "Your world and mine are not the same. We don't fit in the same rooms." He stepped closer, not touching her, not even brushing her. But she felt him like heat. "Maybe the problem," he murmured, "is that you keep deciding where you do and don't fit." Her hands tightened on the railing. "Amelia," he said, voice low, "I know what my world looks like. The money, the pressure, the expectations. None of it has ever felt like a life. Not a real one." She forced a laugh. "You're rich, Cole? That's a life plenty of people would take." "Would you?" he asked, and that question hit her too hard. She didn't answer. He exhaled, the sound soft, vulnerable. "You make me feel like something matters. Something I can't buy or build or negotiate into existence. And I hate how much I want it, because I'm afraid if I get too close, I'll take something from you I can't give back." She turned to him at that, eyes sharp. "Don't decide for me." He froze. "Don't pretend you know what I can or can't handle," she said, voice low, steady. "I've held dying people in my arms. I've told fathers their kids aren't coming home. I've been screamed at, spit on, ignored, underestimated. So don't stand there and act like the thing I can't handle is you." His breath caught. The balcony went still. She looked away quickly, heat burning behind her eyes. "I shouldn't have said that." "No," he said, voice deepened. "You should have, because I needed to hear it." She hugged her arms, suddenly cold. Cole moved, slowly, carefully, until he was in front of her. Not close enough to touch, just close enough to be impossible to ignore. "Then hear this too," he said. "I don't want to be something you survive. I want to be something that feels like a choice." Her throat tightened. "You don't even know me." "Then let me." It came out like a plea, a quiet, aching plea. Before she could respond, the balcony door opened sharply. "Cole?" A cool, clipped voice. Margaret Harrington. Perfect posture, diamond earrings, an expression carved out of polished ice. "We need you inside," she said, without so much as acknowledging Amelia. Cole didn't move. "In a minute." "Now," Margaret said, tone firm. Amelia immediately stepped back, putting distance between them. Margaret's eyes flicked over her, assessing, then dismissing, as if Amelia were an interesting stain on an otherwise pristine tablecloth. Cole's jaw tightened. "I said, it's important," Margaret pressed, her voice low enough that Amelia knew it was meant for him, not for her. Amelia swallowed hard. "You should go." "Amelia." "Really?" she forced out. "It's fine." He searched her eyes, looking for something, forgiveness, reassurance, anything. But she kept her expression steady. After a long beat, he nodded once. "I'll be right back," he said softly. She didn't trust herself to answer. He followed his mother inside. Amelia stayed where she was, staring at the lights of the city, feeling her own heartbeat in her throat. She had no idea what Margaret had pulled him away for. But she knew one thing. Whatever this was between them, whatever was starting, whatever she was afraid to want. It wasn't simple, and it wasn't going away. The ballroom was louder when Amelia finally found the courage to step back inside. The speeches were done. The donors were more relaxed. The quartet had shifted to something softer. People mingled in small circles, laughing, sipping, champagne, tossing casual glances around the room. But none of it told her where Cole had gone. She scanned the crowd, once, twice, 3 times, trying not to look like she was searching for him, trying to convince herself she wasn't hoping to see him break away from a conversation and come straight back to her. Jenna found her before she found him. "You good?" Jenna asked, chewing on a shrimp skewer. "You look like someone told you dessert was cancelled." Amelia forced a breath. His mom came out. "Yikes! She's the one who looks like she shops at Hostel Rich Woman Emporium, right?" "That's accurate." Jenna nudged her. "What happened?" "Nothing," Amelia said. Her words died. Across the room, near a cluster of shareholders, Cole stood with Margaret and 2 board members. He wore the expression Amelia had seen in the hospital when he was trying to keep himself together. Tight shoulders, controlled breathing, eyes sharp. But something else was there too. Something like conflict. Margaret spoke to him again, tapping a document on a tablet. Cole's jaw clenched, his fingers curling into a fist at his side. One of the board members chuckled at something, and Cole exhaled through his nose, visibly annoyed, but still trapped in polite conversation. He was stuck. Amelia's chest tightened. "You want to go over there?" Jenna murmured. "No, I want to go home." "You're lying." Amelia didn't answer. Suddenly, Margaret placed a firm hand on Cole's arm and steered him toward a quieter corner of the room, one partially hidden by an arrangement of white roses and glass pillars. Cole resisted slightly, but she spoke again, low and sharp, and he followed. Amelia's stomach twisted. Jenna touched her arm gently. "You okay?" "No. Maybe." She didn't know. "I'm going to get some air," she whispered. She started toward the nearest hallway. Anywhere she wouldn't have to see Cole surrounded, cornered, pulled back into the world he belonged to. And she didn't. But she didn't make it far, because as she stepped into the hall, she heard voices. His voice, and hers. Low, tense, too close. Amelia froze just around the corner. "Mother, I'm not having this conversation again," Cole said, frustration threading through every word. "You will," Margaret replied, her tone icy. "And you will listen. Whatever. The entanglement you are forming with that girl needs to end." Amelia felt her breath catch. Her fingers trembled at her sides. "She saved my life," Cole said tightly. "And she did her job," Margaret snapped back. "You are not indebted to her, nor are you required to indulge in impulses. This isn't an impulse. Everything is an impulse with you lately. You are emotional, reckless, vulnerable after the accident, and you are mistaking gratitude for attachment." Cole let out a short, humorless laugh. "Is that what you think this is?" "It's what the world will think," Margaret said. "And more importantly, it is beneath you." Amelia's vision blurred for a moment. Beneath. The word burned. Cole stepped closer. Amelia could hear the shift in his tone, low and furious. "Do not talk about her like that." "Why not?" Margaret challenged. "Do you intend to date her? Parade her in front of cameras? Drag a paramedic into board meetings? Into international summits? Into a life she is not built for?" The silence that followed was sharp. "Answer me," Margaret demanded. "I don't know," Cole said. The vulnerability in his voice almost broke Amelia. "I don't know what this is yet," he continued, quieter now. "But I know how she makes me feel. And it's real. and it's mine. And for the first time in years, Stop. Margaret's voice cut through his. Listen to me. If you continue entertaining this fantasy, the board will question your judgment. Investors will doubt your discipline. This, your company, your legacy, cannot afford a scandal. Liking someone is not a scandal, Cole snapped. It is when the press can frame it as you repaying a debt to the woman who saved your life. They will paint her as opportunistic. They will paint you as unstable. Amelia swallowed hard. Margaret lowered her voice, sharper, deadlier. She is not for our world, Cole. And you know it. Something inside Amelia cracked. She stepped back before she made a sound. Back into the hallway. Back toward the doors. Away before either of them noticed she was there. Her chest felt tight. Too tight, like someone was squeezing the air out of her. She didn't wait for the elevator. She took the stairs. 1 flight. 2. 3. She didn't stop until she reached the lobby, cool air washing over her like a slap. She pushed out through the revolving doors and into the street. Taxi lights streaked past. People laughed as they spilled out of restaurants. Music thumped from some rooftop bar blocks away. But Amelia barely heard any of it. She pressed a hand to her chest, trying to steady her breathing. She wasn't crying. Not yet. Not until a voice cut through the night behind her. Amelia? Her body went still. She turned. Cole stood there, slightly breathless, tie loosened, expression torn between worry and something rawer. Why did you leave? He asked. She shook her head, stepping back. You don't owe me explanations, Cole. You heard, he said softly. It wasn't a question. She swallowed hard. I shouldn't have. It doesn't matter. She's your mother. She's right. Our worlds don't match. He moved closer, slow and careful. As if she were something breakable he refused to mishandle. She's wrong, he said. Is she? Amelia asked, voice cracking. Because from where I'm standing, it sounds like you're fighting a battle. You don't even know if you want to win. He exhaled shakily. I do want to win it. Then say it, Amelia whispered. Say you're choosing this. Say you're choosing me. Say it without hesitating. He opened his mouth. I closed it. And that half second, that heartbeat of uncertainty, was all the answer she needed. Amelia's chest caved. Yeah, she breathed. That's what I thought. She turned away, stepping toward the street. Amelia, wait! But she lifted a hand, stopping him without looking back. Don't follow me, Cole, she said, her voice trembling. Not until you decide what you actually want. Not your mother. Not your board. You. Silence. Her heart begged him to say something. Anything. To close the distance. To prove her wrong. But he didn't. And in that quiet, that painful, honest quiet, Amelia walked away. Cole stood in the doorway, watching the woman who had saved him walk out of his life. Not because she wanted to, but because he wasn't sure he was brave enough to fight for her. Yet. Don't miss what happens next. Watch episode 6 when it drops. Subscribe to never miss an update.